Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. If you want to support in the spread of intelligent Black media throughout the world, we could really use your help. We could really use your help. We could really use your help. If you are interested in becoming a patron and supporting our intelligent Black media, we have Your Black World News, the Fly Nubian Media Network. We do all kinds of media stuff because Black people have to have our own media. Feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. This is not a donation. We do not accept donations. But we would love to do a trade with you. And so trade means that when you become a patron, we give you lots of free stuff and we help you out and hook you up. So feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com to support what we're doing. Also, if you want to join our organization for Black men, you can go to blackmenunited.net. That's blackmenunited.net for leadership training for Black men. Number 3, leadership. He says any survey of alpha male characteristics quickly reveals that leadership is a key trait. But what exactly does that term mean? Believe it or not, folks who research the topic of leadership actually disagree on the definition more than you might think. And so what he says, basically when he talks about leadership, is that he says, I can tell you that in the case of alpha males, it's a mixture of leaders being born and leaders being made. He said leadership involves the process of inspiring others, developing people, creating a long-term vision, asking questions, including why, modeling desired behaviors, like don't be a hypocrite, whatever you tell people to do, you got to do it yourself, and challenging people to reach new heights. Now, a leader is different from a manager. A manager is not necessarily a leader. A manager is somebody who administers, maintains, controls, establishes short-term goals, asks the how and when questions, imitates the leaders, and they don't challenge superiors or the system. So Black people in a white supremacist society are trained to be managers and rewarded for being managers. But you're not rewarded, you're punished for being leaders. You are rewarded for being the overseer, but you are never going to be rewarded for being the revolutionary. Let me go through that again. When he talks about leaders, he says leaders inspire others, they develop people, make them better, create a vision for the long term. They ask questions, including why. They model desired behaviors, so they are good role models in that way, and they challenge people to reach new heights. A manager administers, they're an administrator, they maintain, control, they establish short-term goals, they ask the how and the when questions, like how are you going to get it done? They imitate the leaders, so they do what their boss does, and they do not challenge superiors, they do not challenge the system. So if you're a manager, then, and you're Black, you're going to do well. They're going to take good care of you, because what you're doing is you are an employee of white supremacy. You are a champion of white supremacy. You're imitating the leaders. You're imitating, how many Black people do you see running for office who dress just like Barack Obama, or who repeat word for word whatever tune the Democratic Party is singing that year, right? That's imitation. That's management. Their job is to manage you. A lot of us thought that Al Sharpton, for example, was a leader. Al Sharpton's not a leader. Al Sharpton is a manager. He maintains, he controls the Black community. The how and when questions. How are we going to make sure Black people show up to vote? And when you need to vote? Everybody souls to the polls on Sunday. On Sunday, everybody's going to go vote, because that's how we're going to keep the Democratic Party in power, or whatever, right? They don't challenge superiors, and they don't challenge the system. That's why, for example, in the Me Too era and all that, you'll have, Black leaders in the Democratic Party or whatever that will talk all day about, the dirt that Donald Trump has allegedly done, but they won't say a word about what Joe Biden has done or what Bill Clinton has done. They don't have nothing to say about that. There's no comment. But when it comes to the other side, then they'll talk all day, right? So the thing is, though, this is not that being a manager is all bad, though. You need managers for leadership to actually work. Like, every leader needs a manager. Like, if you're the inspirational leader for your company, you need somebody that's going to help, establish pragmatic goals that are going to allow your vision to be implemented, right? So you need the manager, but the manager must also always ask themselves, who is my Lord? Who is my king? What am I bowing to? What system am I serving? So when you are a manager, when you are Black and you're being rewarded heavily for being a very good manager in a white supremacist system, who are you serving? What purpose are you serving? So anyway, let me keep going. He says, that's not to say that managers can't be good leaders. I'm just suggesting that the terms are not mutually, I'm simply suggesting the terms are not mutually exclusive. You may be wondering why I'm mentioning this. Here's why. For most men who want to be alpha males, it's the leadership trait that needs to be grown and not the management trait. So y'all got a bunch of Black men out here that go to college and learn how to be managers. And you don't have enough Black men out here that learn how to be leaders. And that's why you're losing. That's why you're getting your ass kicked. That's why you're coming in last place. That's why you're getting fired on your day off. That's why you ain't won a championship since the 70s. That's why you can't even make it to the first round of the playoffs, because you ain't got no leaders. You ain't got no leaders. You don't have enough Kevin Durant's and LeBron Jameses and all that. You got too many what's that guy that plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder? I forgot his name, but the guy that shoots all the time. Russell Westbrook. You got a lot of Russell Westbrooks out here, alpha dogs, or think they alpha dogs because they shoot all the time. But you really need leaders. You need people that make their teammates better. You need people that have a vision for the future, people that are actually going to help the team win. So anyway, let's keep going. Moving on, we're talking about alpha males versus dusty beta males as the term is used. And I figure if people are going to keep using these terms, we might as well make it scientific so that we can understand exactly what we're talking about. 4, alpha males have protective instincts. He said, have you ever noticed that in the wild, alpha animals are very protective of their clan and of their territory? Like y'all remember that goose I ran into when I was running and I was jogging along that path. I was jogging along a path and this goose was standing there blocking the path. And I was like, why is this goose blocking the path? And I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna go around him. I guess he'll fly away. And then when I got closer, he stuck his tongue out. He was like, and he kept sticking his tongue. I was like, why does this goose keep sticking his tongue out? And so I was like, okay, well, this is weird, but I'm gonna keep going. So I took another step, but this time I took the step a little slower because I didn't know what I was dealing with. And then he lifted his feathers up like he was about to attack me. And I'm like, what? Okay, what is this gangster goose? Like, what the hell, man? And so we're sitting there, and by this time I pull out my cell phone because I'm like, this is really interesting. So I started recording this goose, and I said, now watch what happens if I take another step. So I took another step, and then his neck got real long, like to where like an extra 2 feet long. I could swear. I mean, and I'm like, what? This goose looks like he's ready to fight me, like he's ready to attack. And what I realized eventually was that the reason this goose was getting all gangster with me was because his woman was sitting on the side of the path where I couldn't see her. And she was sitting on eggs and that were about to hatch. So he was protecting his family. He's protecting his wife and his child, or his girlfriend, and whatever you call it, whatever gooses call. They're women, right? I guess they don't get married. But, I thought that was fascinating. It was interesting because nobody ever taught him how to do that. This goose didn't go to college to learn how geese are supposed to behave when their family's under attack. Like, no, he didn't read any books about it. It was part of who he was. God put that inside of him. And I believe that God put protective instincts inside the Black man. But a lot of Black men, now pay attention. You talk about dusty beta males. How often have you seen, yes or no, have you ever seen these videos out here where some Black woman is getting her ass beat and the Black men are sitting around filming the shit or laughing and making jokes? Hey, has anybody seen that? Where the Black woman is getting beat up, punched in the face by a man, and Black men are standing, a group of men are standing and watching and filming the incident. Like that's trained behavior. That's learned behavior. That's not instinctual. Men don't instinctively sit around and film a woman getting beat up by a man. Men instinctively respond and say, hey man, let her go, get up off of her. That's what men do. But something happened with these poor men that turned them from potential alpha males into dusty beta bitches. That's it. They went from being, being the strongest, the king of the jungle, to becoming Billy Porter. They became little gossip queens and shit, sitting there filming. How dare you sitting there filming a woman getting beat up by a man? Like, really? Like, didn't nobody? And I bet you a lot of these boys wasn't raised by no daddy. No man ever interact with them in a significant way to teach them, like, you don't do that. Like, you're not supposed to sit there and watch a woman get beat up like that. Let me tell you a little story. One time I was on an airplane, and there was this, it was a white woman, and she was a single mom. And she, or at least she looked like, well, I'm gonna say she's a single mom. She had a baby, and there was nobody there to help her with the baby. Now, just so you know, any men that are listening, any young men that are listening, if you have a woman that has a child, or you get married or whatever, if she's got to fly, try to fly with her. Don't have your woman out here doing everything by herself. That's just a little tip, a little pointer for you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because you do all that and you have her out there by herself all the time, eventually her hero is going to come along. Some man's going to come along and give her the attention that you didn't give her. So just don't do that. But anyway, so she's getting on, but maybe her husband couldn't make it or whatever. So she's on the airplane, and she's got this baby, and the baby was like the baby from hell. The baby was crying. Has anybody ever know how horrible it is to listen to a baby on an airplane? It is the most excruciating sound ever. This baby cried from the time the flight took off to the time the flight landed. It screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed. Well, there was a guy sitting across the aisle from her, and I'll never forget this. And this guy was like a young punk. He's a little punk ass kid, about 25 years old, you know. And he was already acting weird. Like, we thought maybe he was on drugs. We didn't know what was going on with this guy, but I didn't say nothing because we were just on the airplane. I was minding my business. But then there was a point where the baby was screaming. It was getting on everybody's nerves, but I guess for him, he got really upset. So he said, "Lady, would you please shut that baby up?" Right? So he yells at this woman, and she's petrified that she's getting yelled at on an airplane. And do you know that I was sitting right behind the guy? There was another man sitting up in front of the lady, and there was another man sitting on the other side. And do you know that it just instinctively, all three of us, when that man gave a threatening gesture to that woman with the baby, all three of us were ready to get up. We were like, whoa, no, whoa, hold up, bro. You know, like before that, we didn't say anything to him when he was acting weird. But when he was acting like he was about to threaten this woman, all three of us just naturally just responded. Like you're not going to do shit because we are watching you. You know, and the thing was, it wasn't like I thought about it. That's what you're supposed to do. So when I see our own community, and you see a woman not getting just yelled at, but you have a woman getting beaten up, punched out in the face, and you got a bunch of men all watching and making jokes or laughing and filming and just observing what's going on. That's a very weird community. That's not natural. That's not natural. Like this slavery thing has taken a big piece of who you are. It's literally done an extraction of your manhood from your body, you know, because you're not supposed to do that as a man. So anyway, moving on. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. He says protective instincts in alpha males are important. He says there's a reason why you see this kind of behavior in alpha wolves and other animal species. He said it's called instinct, and it's directly related to survival. Pay attention. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you now. So when they come around you and they're using these stupid terms like toxic masculinity and trying to feminize your men and making them as weak as possible, they are threatening your survival. That is a plan for genocide. That is a plan for you can't build a strong community when you don't have any alpha males in that community. Everybody ain't got to be the alpha, but somebody has to do it. So he says that in the animal kingdom, the protective instinct of the alpha male is important for the survival of the entire community. The community does not survive when its men are gone. Why do you think that if you go to communities where you have the biggest fatherlessness epidemic going on, that's also the place where you see the most children getting molested? That's also the place where you're seeing the most poverty. That's also the places where the police will run up in there and shoot anybody, beat anybody, body slam, big mama, do whatever they want, because they're coming to your community and they're like, y'all ain't got no alpha males, so we don't have no threats. We don't have anybody here to worry about. So we're gonna just do whatever the hell we want. We either gonna beat you, we're gonna beat your grandma, we're gonna fuck your women, we're gonna enslave your children, we might arrest some of your kids, we might molest your children because we freaky, we crazy like that, right? They do whatever they want. They literally wreak havoc on your community because your alpha males don't exist.